we have an indicator named as fair wage situation path. Number one of this indicator, the definition is productive at the state of the mondial productivity, the minimum. Down on this indicator, number one, you need to attain this balance. Open is the best. Then selected is near to the middle. eh, Is 83%. Then the I think that until 2030, the expected we can attain and the projection to attain 120%, 20% of the need. It's very important. Then, what are the actions you need to apply to transform this production in intellectual property? For example, permanent consultancy for patents and software defense. Uh, we have a college, the MSEC of Federal Institution de Maputo, asked for research, heavily more research. And the action is very important to integrate undergraduate students with graduate students for attain this goal. It's very important. Don't I think that using this sub-indicator for the fair license is very important to attain this goal to elevate scientific impact. Let's go. The second basis. Very good. The second basis, governance, architecture, and process. In scientific, we have one institute, a saying of the higher education institution, namely coordinator of innovation technology knowledge. Then, this structure have the potential for accelerate the implementation of ecosystem innovation in certain. Then in Brazil, exists in the higher education one program named Accelera Digital. This program is very important for the financing of this structure. The second is very important to have agile or implementation the legal instrumentation of PDI agreements. It's very important we working joint with the helping foundation, supporting foundation is strength to this implementation. And in Brazil, we have a big window, modernization 23, for supporting this action in innovation and entrepreneurship. And the last, the degree technological, we have systematized portfolio of proprietary intellectual assets for active industrial operation. Pay attention. Working with the non-academic institution is a big game in Brazil. I think so that not only in Brazil, but other countries happens similar. The next slide. technological university. I think so in this year. Yes, exactly. Yes. And the last basis, number four, entrepreneurship and workforce connection. Uh, we need student talent is especially is principal, is fundamental to identify the talent of the student eh, for several programs implemented on research and innovation program. Uh, we have assigned a number of innovation applicants for 19. These values assigned last year and this year. I think so close to 20 to 30%. And market solution, we need to implement this solution using these instruments for this group, from learning to market. Then, the entrepreneurial journey, unifying 19 applicants equally consider that mentorship as seed capital assets using the program in Brazil, name building the program named Resilience Technological for foment this human resource in innovation and using the industry 4.0. The skilling, applying this skilling for the human resource using short course for having workforce connection. Here, I think so the blending intensive program, better blending intensive program is similar is short the course for having workforce connection. In Brazil, is applied similar for this program technological resilience. Next slide. Then, some targets and methods to attain this goal only 21st. First, scientific map of production. It's very important. Second, PDE agreements using the decree for innovation and entrepreneurship in Brazil. IP access deposits, proprietary intellectual deposits, and a startup incubate and resilience student formation. Applying these force methods as agents, I think so this effect the global have visibility international for this action in innovation and entrepreneurship. Next slide. Well, it's an invitation. The Star Alliance University for join with the global in this forum. Joint research, collaborating in bioeconomy, intelligence artificial, and sustainability. Second, mobility, access to high skilled research in STEAM and IA. Then for change, co-publication,
Não, agora ao fazer assim, vai logo para o contexto. Então, cada vez mais gastar no outro. Não, ainda tenho aqui o PDF aberto. Ai, caralho, não abre porcaria do. Ah, pá.
It's a great question. I feel so it's an abstract of my presentation. AC4 is very important because from during the verifying the student data using
Está
In2Cop,
fechado.
apply for the several programs we have in CEPED for
Está fechado.
research,
Fechado.
technological innovation. When this student access
Está
to
aberto.
a
Só lançado.
scholarship, pay for the financial resource of the institution, you can identify this data and integrate this data for capacity in this program, in this governmental program called technological excellence. I feel so from this point that next years we can we can the possibility to insertion in several industrial chains this skill because the abilities or the skills attained in these capacity buildings I feel so helping to development the society. It is an important destiny. Very good. Congratulations. Other question?
Thank you. Actually, this is not a question, but just point out some activities throughout your presentation. Because recently we opened a master's degree course in energy and society. It's a professional course, and obviously we have this kind of PhD. It could be academic or professional, but it's not you personally. But usually the universities use the professional just to focus more on the subject they choose from research, but working as academic. This course, instead of having academic orientation, we have also a mentorship from a professional athlete from the industry. Uh, so this makes a difference to put the students, the graduate students, in straight contact with the goals of the industry, and also to put closer the institution and the industry companies. In this case, we have several professionals from
Está a
the
transmitir
electric
para a conta da
industry
empresa.
inside this master's degree, but very focused
Se aparece
to solve problems
a
of
conta
the
aqui aparece a conta do
industry
Jack. Portanto, aparece nada.
companies.
Okay, thank you. Very good, very good. So finally,
Até porque
approach
eu
our method is
associei a conta da empresa
master degree program
aqui na
at
transmissão não aparece
this
nada.
moment
Também vou ver aqui
building
no Google. Não aparece
an
nada.
international degree in double degree with
Está em
IT,
condição.
with this past helping us with Angela, coordinator of master how competitive they're talking about right now. Okay, no problem. Thank you. Remember that we will be more time and room for questions in the end of the pre-presentations. Thank you. Please take your seats. Okay, now it's my pleasure to introduce, first of all, my dearest friend, Professor Enzo Freire. Amir is a passionate for learning and people development. It's the first idea of the short CV. Holds a postdoc in management and economic from School of Economics and Management of University of Porto and a PhD in work and organizational psychology of University of New York. She coordinates and coordinates at the presidency several institutional, international, and national funded projects funded by the European Commission and the Portuguese Ministry of Innovation. She integrates she integrates several international networks like SETI, OCDE, EBC, and so many others that I will stop here. Professor Ana Oliveira shared with us a promising presentation about trust and cohesion, pillars for academic and national development. Ana, please come to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation to be here. I want to thank University of Vienna for doing all the activity for this wonderful event. We are really organized partners in France because we have created instituted our institution on the University International and Polytechnic University of Odessa. And it's a pleasure to be here because, as you all know, In2Cop, Polytechnic University of Odessa has solid and strong ways and continuing solids for several years, which is entered blue for about 4 years, and we love it all tonight. So thank you very much for being here and sharing this with me. So, can I do that? Thank you. Slowly, okay. So, what I'd like to talk to you today is that I will try to share some experience and research about some kinetic energies and try to think about some institutional priorities and give some ideas about the reality. And this will be an active learning because I'm responsible for the active learning in my institution, right? So I'm implementing something that you can see that. What is this? You need to answer. Our IDP will not have serve some coffee. I don't really like coffee. But what is the answer to this? What is this that you are seeing? And congratulations also to Science. Several members here. What do you see there? Yeah. A logo by a Portuguese fortress for Belgium, obviously a little bit old. We have visual two kids. One of them is teaching, and another painting from Lorenzo Santos, also a Portuguese painter. What is this? Hey, dá-me essa terra. story. We all have stories. When we are building co-creation, we are building stories. This is important for us to remember. And each one of you could have a slide like this. You could put there creative things. You could put whatever you want. And we need not to understand every details of the slide. Understand that each one of us has its own narrative, its own story. That's important when we are building organizational processes and institutional strategies. So, is it clear? You all don't participate a lot more. Well, that's why I said do not issue your certificate. Okay, this is also me with my leadership practice that we developed with colleagues from the university. Then they're there. George and Sonia and a lot of others back with the Estelle. And here you have João, our now designer, and you have the winning team. You're always winning. You also participate now that win. So this is also my life and my picture and my team. So it's another story that we need to tell. So when we talk about co-creation, I would ask some three questions that I selected from here. How can we build a university that enables our students to achieve their full potential? That's our main challenge. We need us for just achieve their full potential. Another key question for participation to partnership. That's a big question. How to enhance student engagement so they can move from participation to partners, to partner with us in research teams and also courses. And of course, how barriers to learning, probably we have difficulties in educational design or in the engagement approaches. Some three questions that probably I would like you to think about today in this wonderful conference. So you can just go to the other slide, please. When we are thinking about the previous one, please, the culture. Okay, so we are dealing with major issues in higher education. What are they? Very quickly. I could have some chocolate. Sometimes I do that too, but today I didn't have time. So I think just people participate more. What do you think is major challenge to culture transformation in higher education history of the universities? One. Okay, good question. The status quo. That's good. What do you think about that? Biggest challenge? Changes? Trying to accept changes. Okay. How can we build a culture of trust for change? Do you think we will change without trust? We cannot. Because people, that's my researchers' personal opinion. Because that's why I focus on research, organizational trust. We don't trust in people if we don't have a culture of transparency and ethics. People will not trust the organization so they can move. If we don't create support systems, what happens is that people will not change. We need people to innovate. This is a conference about co-creation, innovation, change and movement. If we want people to change and move, trust their teams, their peers, their leaders. And this is very important because we need trust. You know, for what? To jump. When we have uncertainty, we need to jump. We will not jump if we don't trust the institution, the leader, the team, the colleague, the student. We will not jump. So you can move to the other slide. And now, what I would like to know in this room, who doesn't like to cook?
Okay, and now, who does that cooking? Okay, let's do something to eat. We need to eat, so let's put here some pasta and some tuna. That's me. Who is in this group? You are in this group. Okay. Okay. But you need to decide. Are you in this or in the. Okay, okay. And now, so now we're going to the old audience, right? Who loves to cook? Everyone. Good. Perfect. Whoa. Okay. So, this is good because if we are looking to a chef's audience, we're doing quite well. And what's your favorite dish to cook? Sunday roast. Okay. Does everyone knows how to do a Sunday roast? Okay. Most people? Yeah? No. No. Another one. That's but a traditional dish probably here. What could you suggest? Cabidela. Everyone knows to do a good cabidela. The international teams, it's a chicken rice with some particularities, some specialties. Okay, let's go with the cabidela. That's good, good point. So, if I told you, everyone, if we put here some, how we say, an oven, everyone that we need in the kitchen, right? And we bring the ingredients, and I will just tell you, okay, everyone, we will cook a cabidela rice. What would you say to me? How? The ingredients, how? And I will say to you, well, imagine that I'm in the first group. We have a lot of teachers and researchers that they do their jobs, and that's normal. And they don't love their job. They do it professionally, okay, but they don't love it. They just do it. I'm not going to the ones that don't like it, okay? So we forget about those. But the ones that do it, but they don't love it, they don't know really how they can do it, but they do it. What will be the questions for me when I told them to do the cabidela rice? How? The ingredients? More. The recipe, okay, and I just put the recipe there. Just do it. Okay. And why? Why do I need to cook? Yeah. Why? Good. And the other group, the other one that loves to cook, that's all of you, right? Almost all of you. I will just bring the ingredients and the recipe, and you'll be, whoa, yes! Let's go with the rice and the chicken, ta 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 ta. Great. And do you think that at the end, what will be the result and of your actions, of the different? What do you think? It's quite amazing. That's the human reality. What could you have found in the two groups? What do you think? We never know.
We never know what the cabidela will be like.
Okay, please.
But as a co-creation, collaboration, I would say, we go for something unknown, and we create something new, a new dish.
Perfect. Good answer.
Innovate in some way because all the people that like to cook, they put something special in it. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you agree? One more opinion, and we move on to the next slide.
Also for the cooker, the experience is different. You may enjoy the cooking process, or you may be in pain or just tolerating it. And we know food is a love language, so you should put some love in it.
Perfect, Vera. Yeah, it's about when we have different, we have can have regarding implementation processes in organizational management, we can have the same ingredients, we can have the same recipes, we can say have the same leaders, co-leaders, supporters, but probably it's very hard to have the same result. That's about the process, as you all know, about the development, as the colleague was saying. Your name, please. I'm sorry. Amar. Thank you. And it's about, um, we know from research that if we have the same ingredients, but if we have similar processes, it's more possible to have good criterion qualities that go to the individual and organizational results. But we need also to have in mind that we are all different cookers. As the colleague Philomena was saying, we have people that they do their jobs, as Vera mentioning, others suffering, others excited. And the role in co-creation is trying to bring everyone in the same or in their own pace in the process. Can you put another one? We can move this because I think we can move also this. Okay, and more. I have a lot of information, so I can leave you this, and I will go. No, to the image. Yeah, this. This is where I want to. So we can just go more fast. How can we do that? If we're going to co-create a process with a community or an external stakeholder or within our institution and our own stakeholders, our own challenges, we have to go, from my perspective as a researcher, to go, that's very hard to do a mobilization of people. You can move to the next one. And it's about trust, risk, and vulnerability. Please move to the next one. What is this? That's, imagine that you're there, right? And if you're there, we are like, imagine if in higher education we are seeing intelligence, artificial intelligence, just ruling everything, and students and teachers using AI to everything. Imagine that scenario, an impossible scenario. Oh, it's not impossible, it's happening. Whoa. Take a picture on this. I talked to my colleagues from all areas, as you all talk also, and you are feeling this. How will we teach? How can we make sure that students are learning what? What would we like them to learn? How? And businesses the same, and communities the same, and NGOs the same. So this is a very, I was in an event last 2 weeks, and someone was telling that the higher education was the sector that it's the most disrupted by AI because it's just out of ground, right? We are talking about ethics and how can you do it. Well, we're open with it's science, we need to go with it, but how, right? It's very, very hard, very hard. So I think that in this process of co-creation in this changing world, we need to go with uncertainty. And we cannot move people. We cannot change teams or institutions or co-creation settings or partnerships without ethics. So the first thing we know from research is, you can move on, we need vulnerability. If people don't have vulnerability, they don't need to trust. They will not jump. Also, we need some time. People, institutions, partners, they will not develop mechanisms of institutional trust or personal trust with you if you don't have the time to develop, to show that you are coherent, transparent, demanding, and professional. Of course, this is very important for you when you consider these processes of developing interpersonal process of ethics and transparency. It's fragile. If you stick a knife in the back of your partner in the co-creation process, they will not trust you again. So it's easy. Trust is very human, communicate, go on, and ethics and transparency. So, probably I'm good with time. It's 5 minutes. Okay. We need to jump, guys. We need to do it in higher education. In the polytechnic universities, we are jumping for several years, and we need to jump even more, right? We are in a very important phase of our development. And with the alliances, with all the external stakeholders, internal stakeholders, the partnerships, the co-creation, students, and if we need to jump, when we jump, we need to trust that someone will hold us when, if we don't be able to reach this build, right? This mountain. This is particularly hard for every human being. You can say to me, how? Well, some of the topics that I mentioned are explicitly named in research, in businesses research and organizational settings. But this is very, very difficult. And it's about human processes that can develop to co-creation. Can we move to the next slide? Of course, we all talk about critical thinking. What is critical thinking? You all know what is critical thinking. How will I put my colleague, my peer, my business to really do critical thinking? I don't know. We should continue to do what we are trying to do. Self-determined work groups, communities of practice, co-creation, and build partnerships so students can actively participate, be engaged, not just willingness. They need to be truly passionate. They need to be real chefs and how we say foodies, right? Someone say foodies. I don't know, some people that really love to cook. They really love to be engaged in partnerships because of the joy of it, of the results that can bring them. That's the highest and the greatest achievement that we can possibly have. The next one, please. And probably I will end with this. It's very important to have leaders who trust teams, give them freedom to go, and also they are reliable. We can trust them. We can say, this doesn't happen really well. I did this, and it went well, or it went good. And this is very important to co-creation because some of the processes and the teams, they will fail. And students, I know we have a lot of students here, they should be aware. It's very difficult for teachers to have someone who's saying, have this sense of vulnerability and fragility that, oh, I'm the teacher, I need to know everything. From my perspective, it's not true. We need to know, of course, a lot of things, especially how we can guide them. And of course, technically, if you find a teacher or a researcher or a facilitator from your perspective that answers you this, it's just someone you can trust and you can work with them. And probably this is very interesting to co-develop and co-creation of some processes. The subjective autonomy at the ethical level is about each person believes they're doing a great work regarding ethics and transparency. And this should be, from my perspective, at every level of the teams. So to wrap it up, in Viana do Castelo, we have, you can put to the other slide, some strategic initiatives. I'm not going through everyone because I don't think it matters, but you can go and read what is there. But of course, it's about the strategy needs to be with the territory and the community and science. And we have such a big network of stakeholders in higher education. It's very demanding for a researcher, for a teacher, for a course coordinator. You know, not every one of the people that you find in higher education are exclusively stars, and we need to help and booster these processes with strategic key elements that also, for instance, give the teaching resources, give, of course, support in these processes of transformation, and yes, to recognize also teachers, to celebrate the excellence, of course, and to co-create every day with our teams. I think it's the best way we should do in order to go. When colleagues ask me, what will I teach? I don't know. You need to find for yourself. So we need to find ways of teams to trust, as I learned from Braganza, to trust the process, right? But despite the process, also to trust their leaders, supports, peers, and everyone, and also the external stakeholders that are with us in this challenging pathway. If we do this, I think we will have a lot of positive results for everyone in higher education regarding our polytechnic universities. So I'll wrap it up. I don't know if you have questions. Thank you very much. Okay, one question.
Thank you, Anna, for your very inspired uh, intervention. And to maintain the balance, yes, we have room for one short question, and after.
So, I have a almost 12 years old daughter. And what I see is that lower levels of education still work like 30 years ago. And I think that is way unfair to higher education to make the change here. So, as a society, what can we do to make them understand that critical thinking is the base of everything?
Well, really hard question. Someone wants to answer it for me? I will answer in my personal. I also have a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. Of course, we would all like that the educational system level would change. I think it's happening. I think they will need more time, probably than higher education. We are faster. We have more autonomy. We can do things, I think, in another perspective. They have a strong educational school that also the system needs to embrace and change. But I see some changes, and all of us see some changes probably comparing to, yeah, but I cannot answer you with that. What would I suggest is that what I do to my kids, I push them towards autonomy, trust, and make them believe that, okay, this is, but how can I question this? How can I answer this question and try to change the world every day, Just, yeah, we'll do our best.
Thank you, Anna. Can you sit here, please? Ah, just it's very short, please. You are corrupting our.
Yeah, I would like just to echo what you just said in your presentations. There's a key message about the freedom that you are giving to the students in these workshops, and this is very powerful. When you give the students the freedom or research team and so on, they can go outside the box and be very creative. As an example, I did an exercise for my students, and I told them it's not graded. You won't have any mark on this exercise, so feel free to do whatever you want. And it was the best exercise they had during the whole year. So I echo your message to the students. So be free, and you'll go. The sky will be your limit.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Anna. Can you please join us in the chair? Now, please join us, Professor Tiago Câmara. He's a professor at Federal Institute of Education, Science and Technology of Pernambuco, IFPE, Brazil, since 2019. He has served as academic director of Cabo de São Agostinho Campus, where part of his role is to ensure that the campus teaching approach, research, and extension projects are aligned with addressing real community problems will bring us with a presentation about Community Technology Center in Cabo de Santo Agostinho, Pernambuco, Brazil. Please, Professor Tiago.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'll just check my time here because the professors tend to talk too much, right? So, I would like to, on behalf of the presidents of, on behalf of Vera and Juliana, thank the IPB for the invitation. We've been working collaboratively for some time. We don't have dual degrees yet, like Safety here, but maybe in the future we'll have dual degrees. Yeah, let me check if the pointer is working. No, okay. So I'm going to talk about the Community Technology Center that we coordinate at IFPE Cabo de Santo Agostinho. And it really involves social innovation. But Anna's presentation has made me feel like that I should explain my narrative better. Because Rooney talks about the strategies for innovation from Safety Hill. And we have also the similar strategies at IFPE on how hard sciences will address real social problems and in terms of technology and the development of the country. But we are also committed to social innovation. And how can we connect to the problems that I think it's Philippa? She talks about lower grades in education. What's the narrative about? During the pandemic, it was noticeable that most of our students, they were limited to use technology via their cell phones. They didn't have computers. Before the pandemic, I knew, because we worked with capacity building for teachers from the City Hall and the state, that the schools in Cabo de Santo Agostinho, they don't have computer labs. There are no computers for students. There's no, most schools, they had no internet connection. And it's a very unbalanced world because like we are at a federal institute, we have technology, our professors they are doctors, they have access to great education, we work with internationalization of education, but the students who are coming from the City Hall, because at the federal institutes we have different levels of education, high schools, undergrad and postgrad, they were not computer literate. And when you do not allow a student to have access, or a young person to have access to a computer, you are deciding the future of this person. Because you are separating these people in the world in people who had access to a computer at the right time and people who didn't have access to computers and the internet and how to work on softwares. Can we go to the next slide? Yes. So this is the agenda I'm going to try to cover. I'm going to talk about the setting, the project, the methods, the results, and the future. In this, you can just click on, yeah, thank you. In this picture, I have here the previous manager of the community center, where the project is held. The first students were my advisees, and the one in red is the general director of my campus. Okay. So what's the setting? Yes, this is a picture of Cabo de Santo Agostinho. Cabo de Santo Agostinho is famous for its beaches. We are talking about a city in Brazil on the coast. So we have beautiful beaches there, and it's really close to Porto de Galinhas, which is a more famous destination in Pernambuco. But we also have a lot of social problems. The city is the 5th most dangerous city in Brazil. The second most dangerous one in 2021 when this project started. This is the city in Brazil that a black young person black young male from 15 to 21 years old has the most chance to be killed by weapon in the country, okay? This is the eighth city in Brazil with less people holding a university diploma. So people from Cabo, they really don't dream about going to university because it's not part of the life of their parents. We are talking about first generation students mainly in terms of access. And this city is so close, it's parts of the metropolitan area of Recife, which is the capital of Pernambuco, and we are like 25 kilometers far from the capital. And it's the fifth richest city in the state because the industry is there and the logistics operators are also there, but people just don't live there. For example, I don't live in Cabo, I work in Cabo, and I commute every day 40 kilometers to go to my work and to go back from my work. And most of my colleagues, we don't live there, we work there. So it's a problem that we have. But we also have digital literacy problems in terms of school levels. Most schools have no computer lab or internet. The pandemic and the dependence on cell phones. And EFPE, the Federal Institute, and the Federal University, they were opened in the city as a public policy to change the reality of the city in 2013-14. EFPE in 2013, and the Federal University has a campus there dedicated to engineering. I think they opened in 2012, 2013 too. So these are the efforts to change the reality. So what is the project? What's this project? We have this project was co-created involving 3 players. The first player is FACEP, which is the State Science Foundation. FACEP released a public call for social innovation projects. And because of the experience with the pandemic and because of our experience observing the needs of the students and of the teachers from the City Hall, we thought that it would be really useful to create this community technology center. Next, please. Yes. So the City Hall Cabo, Prefeitura do Cabo, manages a social facility called Estação Cidadania. It encompasses different activities for the community concerning sports and arts mainly. So at Estação Cidadania, people from the neighborhood, they go there and they have gym classes, they have painting classes, they have sports in general, judo, English classes, Spanish classes. And they had a room for a computer lab, but there were no computers. The tables were there was air conditioning, but no computers. Yeah. So we thought that that would be the perfect place for the public call FACEP released. And then I coordinated this project. We designed the project to create the technology community center for the community. But what's our community tech center? We like to describe our community tech center as a public and free cyberspace whose aim is to combat digital exclusion by providing access to cutting-edge technologies and quality internet for people in socioeconomically vulnerable situations. I think it's a video. Is it working as a video or no? So no problem. Yeah. We have 21 computers there, and they are new computers, so we can use them for edit videos. We have some 3D printers now. We have a 3D scanner. And we are doing different projects in this lab. This lab is in the community, in Estação Cidadania, the social facility. It's not in the campus. Why isn't it in the campus? As I told you, and due to the reality of the city, people didn't feel that they belonged to the campus. So people from the community, they don't feel like the Federal Institute is for them, or they didn't used to. This is how we were trying to go to these places, to be in the community, so when they are in contact with our students, with our advisors, they start to think that now I can join FPE, maybe I can be a student there. Oh yeah, we have the video. So this is a very simple demonstration on how things work there. and the access they have. Uh, we can go to the next slide, please. So when we opened the community center, the idea was that they would use it freely. Um, After the first month of it, we had a problem because there were some fights outside the center, and there was a security guard organizing the line because there were so many teenagers trying to use the center. And then we established a online system that they had to schedule the use in the center. But the original idea was that it wouldn't be like free all the time. We want to observe how people used the computers and what they were using it for. And based on the use that the community gave to the computers and the technology, we created some courses for the community. So the main concepts of the project in terms of the methods are based on living lab, the concepts of living labs, when users are empowered to co-create with us. But this co-creation, how did it happen? We listened to them in terms of what did they expect from the center, but we also observed the use in terms of the history in the computers, but how they were using the computers. They have naturalized interactions because people are interacting normally. It's an environment of experimentation, and the planning was constantly reformulated because after the first month, I would say that most teenagers, they were using the computers just for games in general. And then you may think, but were the games appropriate, or was it the main idea to have this space open for games? But I'm talking about teenagers that when they entered the center, they didn't know how to grab a mouse, for example. So they were playing games, but they were learning how to use the keyboard and the mouse at first. And from this first interaction, we designed the courses. So we have follow-up activities based on their use. One of the main basis for our research is Paulo Freire's book, Extension or Communication. On Paulo Freire's idea, academia, universities, they do extension, community outreach. I don't know how you call it here, but extension, community outreach, yeah. On a very, it's not horizontal. It's like when academia behaves like we have the knowledge, I don't have anything to learn from the community because I know more than you. And you have to adapt yourself to the knowledge I have. And on Paulo Freire's view, the knowledge has to be reciprocal, horizontal. You have to share and not transfer knowledge. And because communication is dialogical, and the idea is to move from a naive understanding of how things work in society to a critical understanding on how things work in society. And finally, we do work with Michel Thioland's action research, the methods of Michel Thioland's. And there I have the phases of the action research, the exploratory phase, the diagnosis, action planning, action implementation, and evaluation, which will be described in the next slide, the way we did it. So the phases were, in the exploratory phase, we spent the first 4 months of the project buying the hardware, the computers, installing the computers, but prior to it, we were studying. I had a group of advisors, and they were studying the methodology and how they would approach the community. They have also conducted a lot of surveys with the community from the neighborhood where the technology center would be installed in terms of their expectations and what they think of technology, if they would visit the center, so surveys like that. The second phase, we mingled the diagnosis and the intervention design. We spent the month, from month 5 to month 12, trying to understand, identify the user profile. Who is visiting the technology center and why? We were also concerned in terms of gender, age, and school background. And we collected the data based on their use. we implemented the action from in the second year. We spent the second year implementing the actions, which were basically capacity building courses. And we noticed that our main goal should be based on digital literacy and basic skills, because the main group that was using the technology center, there was a big lack in terms of digital literacy. They learned how to use the keyboards and the mouse. They were using YouTube. They were watching games. They were doing some work for school, but they had literacy problems and numeracy problems. They were really bad at math and Portuguese, for example, and it became one of the focus of our work. And during the final 3-4 months, we were finishing our technical reports and scientific papers, and we published some different papers on the center. We evaluated it in terms of sustainability, which is still a challenge, and I will address it a little later. We thought about the income growth potential of the community when they started to learn how to use computers, and we thought of other benefits like social interactions and even research, in terms of research, all the different research that we could do using the center. So the results, some of our numbers I'm going to present here. You can click it all, yes. We have 817 users registered. 77% are male and 23% are female. 71.7% are black. In Brazil, pretos and pardos are considered black people. 49% are aged 12 to 15 years old. These results are based on the organic use of the center, okay? So they are from the first period of the project, which this is the narrative I chose to present to you, from years 23, 22, and 23. 91.80% are at school. 63 have a family income of 1 minimum wage. So family income, okay? When we consider all members in the family, they have 1 minimum wage, which when I convert it, that would be 225 euros a month. And 21% live on 2 minimum wages. 82.1% don't have a computer at home. Those results showed us different perspectives on the problems. We noticed that 49% are aged 12 to 15 years old, and the other big group, they were aged 16 to 18 years old. So we thought like, oh, adults don't want to use the technology center. But it was not the real thing. The problem was when teenagers invaded the center, adults, they didn't feel comfortable to use the center. So we started the courses for the teenagers. And we found out that teenagers didn't want to take formal courses. It was a failure for us. When we had the courses for adults, we would have lines of people waiting for the courses. We still have, even today. Like, if we release a course on basic use of computer for adults, and I have 20 spaces, I'll have like 120 people registered. When we release a course for teenagers, I have 20 spaces, I'll have 5 teens registered. So we changed the approach. Now, what we do? We have courses for adults, and we have workshops for teens. When we have 20 teens working using the community center, we stop it and we say, now you have to take this 45-minute workshop on this topic so you can keep using the community center. And we do it little by little, and this is the way it is working. We are also trying to work with schools more directly, but there are some challenges, and we are progressing, but it's still difficult. We can go to the next slide. So here are some pictures of the courses we offered. So we have computer classes for adults. We have industrial automation, a course. This is a very, it's a not a professional course because it's a short length course, but people from the community take this course, and then after this course, they feel motivated to join the Federal Institute in Pernambuco and take some of our courses. Uh, we have internet for people who are age 60 plus, and these are like success. We always have groups, different groups. We can go to the next slide. We just finished in December the digital business skills for women. These women, they are artisans from the city, because the city is famous for the work we do with pottery, and they were learning how to create Instagram and how to sell their products online. It was a very important course. We have some workshops we offer for teens mainly. Work environment, so how to create the resume and how to be on LinkedIn, for example, how to find trainee positions, fake news and virtual scams, which become really important on how to research online, computer use for Gen Z, which is based on really short workshops, but we have this syllabus that we designed, and we have some workshops to address the needs of how to use Google Docs or Word, for example. And we have some four sessions of workshops in which we try to give them an idea. And the games practice, we have no problem with this one. The games practice, they do participate a lot. And now we are focusing on maker culture. So we took some of the 3D printers that we have at our campus to the Community Technology Center. And many of the projects that we have, there is a project there that students are building reef using the 3D machines to remodel, to use it naturally on the sea, so that we can rebuild the environment. And we have some schools from the community visiting us and learning what we are doing there, so that they feel interested in terms of science and to come to study with us for our high school or our undergrad courses. So in terms of the future, what's the future of the Community Technology Center? The difficulty is to keep it sustainable. How are we keeping the technology center now? We don't have the fund from the State Science Foundation anymore, but we are now a group of seven professors from the Federal Institute, from our campus. We have our research projects and our extension projects, and we also have parts of these projects working there. Why? Because they want to do it. Because if my friends, they say, no, I don't want to take my project there and to involve the community, they won't do it. But that's because they want it, and because they believe we are reaching the community. There are no federal, state, or city hall laws in this specific territory that guarantee the permanence of our Community Technology Center. For example, the city of São Paulo has a strong law on the fundraising for community technology centers. In the city of São Paulo, I think there are 180 community technology centers. In Recife, the capital of our state, there is a social facility, and I think there are 8 community technology centers. In the city of Cabo de Santo Agostinho, we are the only community technology center, and we are not supported by the city hall or by the state. The city hall provides the internet, the staff, and the electric bill, but we keep the hard work. Policy makers need to be convinced that many other CTCs are necessary in the city of Cabo de Santo Agostinho. And so, as I told you, the city center became an umbrella space that gathers many of our research and extension projects. And one of my projects now is to design a law for digital inclusion. And then we have to lobby it, right? Make this lobby. So present it to city councilors and try to make it a law in the city hall. Yeah. So questions will be answered after the presentation. And I tried to give you a very general, a broad idea of the Community Technology Center. We have a lot of papers published on different perspectives and uses of the center. If you want to contact me, I have my email is there, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Professor Tiago. Anyone have a question for Professor Tiago?
Thank you, Professor. And I would like to know if about the future, as you said right now in the last slide. Do you have support from companies in order to keep this project for the future? I don't know if it's easy or not to obtain, but maybe it should be great for the future. It's maybe a nice way.
This is one of our ideas. I think we haven't tried enough because Cabo de Santo Agostinho is in the metropolitan area of Recife. Recife, everything we do in Recife, we say it's the best in the world, We have the biggest carnival parade. My friends are from here, but we say, so we have the best, the longest avenue. So, and we have the Silicon Valley in Brazil. We say it's in Recife, Porto Digital. So it's easy for us to connect with some of these companies, but well, I have talked, but informally, they haven't been like really clear that they would sponsor us somehow, because there are other ways that they sponsor initiatives like that, but the bureaucracy is not that simple, because as we are a public institution, we cannot get this money that easily. But it is not impossible, but that's something that we are I think this year we will do it, because we are ready now.
Okay, Tiago, join. Okay, guys, now it's time to more questions, maybe more extensive, not too expensive, extensive comments or so on. Okay, thank you for the inspired communications, and please, it's your turn now.
So first of all, thank you to all the three speakers. I am very inspired, and I learned from what you shared this morning. I identified some common points between the three talks. So on one hand, you have the students involved, even if at different levels of involvement and of academic path. We also have the professors and the researchers being mentioned by everyone, and also the impact with the external stakeholders, the community or the industry or the public sector. So we all have created an ecosystem inside our institutions together with the regions we are. My question is, can I challenge all of you to create an ecosystem of ecosystems, a super structure that can somehow connect all our ecosystems in producing something bigger with a global impact?
No one wants to go. Okay. I'll go. Sure. That will be great. All the ecosystems will have some labeling and some horizontal criterions. And if we base on that, we can do an amazing work. Because going to my own presentation of this work from the colleagues that were presented, they're based on some similar, with different results, different stakeholders, different ecosystems within the same processes and within the same quality criterions and guidelines. So I think it would be a really outstanding ecosystem, amazing for us to be willing to participate. They're saying that we want to, you should co-create.
I agreed with you. You see in my presentation the axis 4 that you cast about meat. these ACs propose this alternative solution for the ecosystem. I think so that this robust infrastructure ecosystem of ecosystem is the best pathway for the insertion this human resource in the several industrial chains. Totally, I agree with you.
But I'm thinking here that we should write a paper on. We should like try to design this structure, systematize, yeah, a systemic approach to the in ecosystems of ecosystems. Uh, so one of the work we did was to design this social Canva model for all the community technology centers that if any city hall wants to implement them. So that will be interested to reflect on how to create an ecosystem for other ecosystems and to think about it, reflect it scientifically.
Vera is already working on it. It's already. Thank you.
Okay, Mike. More questions, please. The students. Okay. We have a coffee break, but we need to deserve it.
Thank you. And my question is for Ana Teresa. Could you please share with us a little bit about the experience using the co-creation during your classes with your students?
My classes, specifically my courses. Okay. What I used to taught 3 years ago before I entered the presidency, now I teach really, I don't have really a lot of lectures, but from previous personal experience, I teach mainly human resource management because, my area is psychology and management. Um, what I did personally is that I was involved in co-creation with businesses, mainly with big industries. In my case, especially for instance, automobile or all sorts of industries that we have in the region. And the idea was always, I had in all my courses some topic depending on the complexity of the course, and if I'm dealing with master or graduation, it's different, of course. Different levels of complexity that are engaged within the ecosystem, as Vera mentioned, of the industry. Because some of these big companies, almost all of them have human resource management departments and management, of course, but if we are dealing with smaller companies, they didn't have it. So we need to design an ecosystem where they can approach and co-create some results. And that's my personal experience. Also, I was deeply involved in several projects regarding critical thinking in these co-creation processes, and they did it with the companies among the years. So, but I can share some experiences and results more personally with you after. I will gladly do that. Thank you.
Okay, the other speakers want to add something? We still have time for one more question. If not, I have a question. What do you think that you have in common, you three? And the question is for you all.
No, yeah. So as part of the audience, I was observing the speeches, and I was thinking like we were all aligned, and we started from the strategies, yeah, in terms of how do we innovate, how do our institutions innovate, and then we got to Anna's presentation on without trust and being vulnerable, there is no innovation, and how we connect people, because we saw the community technology center. I designed the initial thing of the project, but the project is not working because of me. It's because of my advices and the advices of my other friends, professors. We have now there are 20 to 12 students who work in different shifts, morning, afternoon, and in the evening, making it open, and they are passionate about it because when I talk to them, I see that they see themselves as part of the community, and they see that when the people from the community who think that they don't belong to the FPE, they go to this, they know how important their work is. So I mean, what happens? The beautiful things that happens in a project like that, it's not present in the presentation or in our papers many times. We have some beautiful numbers, but when you are there and you are observing people using their computers, learning how to use it, gives a lot of meaning to what we do.
Okay, it's a hard question. What we have in common? It is, Fernand. It is. No, it is not. Okay, first of all, I think we all try to be good cookers. We try our best to make things going in the kitchen, and everyone also understands the ingredients and has the ability to co-create. I think that's probably what can what we can share, because from all the cases that we have teams with us. We don't do it without them. So it's about trying to put everyone cooking and doing a nice cabidela rice, right?
Okay, thank you very much to our speakers. Thank you very much to the audience. And one applause for the speakers, please. Okay, now I have a good news and the bad news. The good news is we have a coffee break waiting for us upstairs. But the bad news is during the coffee break, you also need to participate in the posters sessions. And we have two different poster sessions, a physical one in these two walls, and also I believe 7 rooms with digital presentations of posters. So please take your time. We have almost 1 hour for this. Take your time, eat something, drink a coffee, but also give your attention to the posters. Our students that participate in all this project are anxious for your visit, okay? Ah, okay, and don't forget to evaluate the posters, okay? Yeah, you have QR codes and you can evaluate the posters, okay? If you have any doubt, look around you, someone give you the right information for that, okay? Thank you. You are invited for the coffee break and poster sessions.